I guess there are brands, but within brands or stables, there are gems, and the gems are what I like to prescribe. And for example, there's a whole heap of lenses that Alcon provide, and I sell a lot of them. But there
Mm.
are some lenses from Alcon that I sell the vast majority of. So, and the ones that I love the most from Alcon are two lenses in particular at the moment. One is the Dailies Total One range, and the
Mm.
Dailies Total One uses special water gradient technology, which is how they treat the outside of the contact lens to make it water loving and very high water percentage, which means your tears only have to wet the surface of their Dailies Total One lens, not the whole lens, because the internal lens is separate and kept at a stable water level. So most contact lenses suck your tears dry. They take moisture that they need to keep hydrated from your tear film. Whereas all you've got to do for the Dailies Total One lens is wet the surface of the lens. And that's amazing. The second one that I really love from them is a product called Total 30, which is instead of a daily single-use contact lens, and the daily single-use ones are in spheres and in torics for astigmatism, and they're in multifocals. But the Total 30 one is for 30 days, so it's a monthly lens. And they make them in spheres and torics and multifocals with the same mechanical designs, which means if I have someone in a Dailies Total 1 lens that's perfectly fitted, I can swap them into a Dailies Total 30 and have a pretty good sideways swap. So the same lens will sit the same way, the same prescription should apply. It's pretty easy to do those trials. And then if you go to someone like Johnson and Johnson have got some amazing new generation lenses. One of them is a myopia control contact lens called Ability. And Ability is a slightly sharper or tighter curve, which fits kids better. And they're the ones that we're trying to get into these myopia control contact lenses. It's also got this diffractive ring technology, which is a little bit different to anything else on the market, which is a very powerful driver of stopping eye growth and elongation of the axial length, which is the driver of myopia progression. And they've also got this new range of Max lenses, and the Max lenses have got some interesting technology in them for dry eye, and they come in a range of different products, and they're expanding that range all the time. So again, I'm really enjoying playing with some of those lenses from J&J. And I've got a couple of lenses from Bosch and Lomb that I really like that are good solid lenses that have got some reasonably recent tech in them, but they're priced well. So again, really nifty. And the last one with the big boys in terms of soft contact lenses would be Cooper Vision. And Cooper Vision have been the lion's share of the contact lens market for a long time. Not all of their lenses are quite as up to date as they could be, but they've just released a new update to their myopia control contact lens with a silicon hydrogel material, which is a healthier, more oxygen pumping sort of contact lens material. And that's really amazing because they've had a lens that they've had in the market for a long time called MySight. And the only problem with it is the material that it's made out of. And yet now they've solved that. So that, again, these companies have innovation and research that they apply, and it takes a while to get that to market, and not everything comes out instantaneously. And sometimes things might be available in Australia first, and then as a trial run, and then given to the rest of the world. And other times we get it after the rest of the world, so we get it a little bit later, and that happens with all companies as well.
Yeah, I'm familiar with my sight contact
Mm.
lenses for myopia control. But are you saying that now that there are other brands doing similar things?
Yeah, well, the Johnson and Johnson Ability lens is a myopia control.
Mm.
That's in a soft lens. There's the one that's from Cooper Vision, which has probably got the lion's share of the market. But
Yeah.
and I wonder their launch of this couldn't have come because of what Johnson and Johnson were doing, but maybe
Mm.
there was part of it because this had to have been in train for a long time before they released it.
Mm.
So it's good. So as time goes on, and there's a couple of other lenses from a couple of other smaller labs that are less well known that also do this, and
Mm.
some of which are available have been available in Australia but are not marketed here currently. And
Mm.
they're more available overseas. There's EDOF lenses from Mark and Boy and stuff that are out of Capricornia and things. So there's quite a few. Yeah.
So when you're recommending a contact lens, let's say for adults,
Yep.
so you sounds like you take into consideration comfort, I imagine price as well. Are there any other factors like oxygen permeability? And I mean, what is that even? What does
Or,
that why
well,
does that matter?
okay. So there's a few things. I've got bridges that I won't cross. So if someone wants a cheap lens that's going to be unhealthy and it's not safe for them, I won't sell it and I
Mm.
won't recommend it and I won't prescribe it. If but in saying that, in terms of a healthy lens that pumps oxygen really well and is healthy for the eye, there's a range of products in different price things, and we'll do comparisons. So I can do one eye with one lens and a different eye with a different lens and see which one feels better, or I can do a week or 3 days of wearing a pair of lenses, and then the next week or the next 3 days we wear a different brand of contact lens and see which one of those works better. And it's surprising Sometimes there's not much difference between the trials, in which case people go, well, there wasn't much difference between them, but that one's half the price or a third of the price of this one. I'll buy the cheaper one, which is great. Other times people come back and they say, wow, there was no comparison. I can see why these are more expensive because they're just so much better than the other brand. And in which case you're not pushing them, but they find their own happy pathway. And sometimes it's based on price, but it's within my realm of what I think is safe and appropriate for them. And sometimes they dictate exactly what they want from comfort and from ease of use. And it's not unusual that we do those sort of trials. I do trials between two brands or three types of lenses on a regular basis.